We're here today with Evelyne Huytebroeck, the co-president of the European Green Party and former regional minister of energy environment in Brussels. So what are the goals of the European Green Party?
So, European Green Party, of course, it's to bring green political agenda at the European level, of course. But not only on the European level, also we work with all the levels, and also the local levels, the local councillor, the regional one, and the national one. We organize initiative, we have some initiative, we organize some activities, webinars. Of course, during the pandemic, it was only virtual, but it was really necessary for members because so they can have also some discussions all together. We also organize some big conference on topics like in Milano in 1 month on the question of climate, because there is a COP in November, and during the Youth COP and Pre-COP we organize a big event, not only with the Greens but also with the NGOs, with experts and so. So the role of the EGP is to be a little bit like the center of a galaxy between the civil society, between NGOs, between also the green world. And when I say the green world, it's of course the green parties, but also the young federation, the group of the MEP, of the member of the European Parliament, and we have also a green foundation. And then also we represent all the green parties in Europe. We have 45 members at some international events like the COP, for example, like the biodiversity summit. So that's briefly the goal of EGP, and we have a staff with 30 persons here in Brussels, very international one. And I can also say that, of course, it's European Green Party, but we work also in the Global Greens. That's the federation with the Federation of the Americas, of Asia Pacific and African Greens.
Wow. Okay. So you guys do a lot.
Yes.
Yeah. Could you please enlighten us about the scope of your work as co-president of the European Green Party?
Yeah. So the European Green Party, we have always two co-chairs, as we say, one man and one woman. So I'm the woman, of course, from Belgium, from Brussels, and my co-chair is Thomas Waits, who is a European member of the Parliament, and he's coming from Austria, and we are very complementary because he is more from the countryside. He's a farmer. He's working with the bees in the south of Austria, and I'm really more urban. What we do is that we coordinate, of course, the work of the staff, but also we give the political view. And it's important that we have some experience, and so you know maybe that I'm in the party of Ecolo, the French Green Party in Belgium, since now yes, more than 30 years, and also I was a regional minister and MP, so it's necessary to have also this experience. So we represent also the green movement, and we also organize communication through the social networks also, but we do also press release. So it's important that the co-chair also can manage all this communication. And we have a committee with 9 persons coming from different countries in Europe, and of course we delegate also some topics to the other member of the committee.
Right. Thank you so much. How does sustainable construction fit in with the goals of the EGP?
It's an interesting question, because we can say that sustainable construction is very specific, but for me, and I was Minister of Energy and Renovation, I think it's in the heart of the question of the climate. Really. We cannot imagine the climate question without thinking how we live in the cities, and how we manage the buildings, the construction. And when I say construction, it's not only construction, new construction, but also renovation. And we work, you have to know that we work, and especially me, a lot on green cities. And green cities for us, it's a global concept with alternative mobility, consuming more local, the question of sustainable food, the question of how we manage the water in a city, the waste question also, the circular economy, and of course the construction. For example, in Belgium, in Brussels, certainly, we have a lot of old buildings. There, the goal and the aim is to transform all these old buildings in more sustainable buildings. Yes, and it's not, it's really not easy, but we know also that we have, and it's urgent, we need to reduce drastically our CO2 emissions, and a big part of the emissions in, for example, in Brussels, is coming immediately from the buildings. So we have to put efforts on the buildings, on renovation, and also on the new buildings. It's completely another thing. We think completely in another way on this construction. And one example is Brussels. I can speak about Brussels maybe later, but also we are going to Milano soon, and now the mayor of Milano is working now with the Greens, and we know that one of his goals is really to bring his city as one of the top 5 in Europe in green buildings, for example. So we have also now in Europe 7 governments, national governments, where we have minister. The last one is in Scotland last week, but we have also in Sweden, in Finland, in Austria, Luxembourg, and Belgium. And there we have really ministers who can also do something on the question of sustainable construction. And sustainable construction, but also how we manage the public spaces. Because again, it's a global concept. It's a construction, but it's also how we manage the city. And with all the problems that we had this summer, and in Belgium and in Germany, for example, with the floods,
the flooding,
in July, who was really terrible. It was really a catastrophe. Maybe the first time in Belgium, the people realized, and also the politicians, the experts, the architects, everybody, that we have to build in another way. It's not possible anymore. Otherwise, we are going more and more to problems like we had in July.
Yeah, very good point. We need to adapt. So what has been done or will be done to achieve these goals within the topic of sustainable construction?
So, as I said in Brussels, and I begin that, I was minister between 2004 and 2014. And I begin in 2007, when I've seen that quite 70% of the CO2 in Brussels was coming from the buildings. We begin to make a new program on sustainable construction. And we realized also that in the beginning, the state and the administration, we had to give some incentive to the people who want to build in another way, more sustainable construction. And I think it's also a responsibility of the state or the cities to give some incentive for that. Right. When you make a more sustainable construction, you can receive this incentive, because it was true. It's less true today, but it was true that building, for example, a passive house is more expensive than a common house. So it was important, because the financial question is, of course, important for the people. And also, it was not only incentive and money, it was also to show and to inform the people that if it's more expensive at the beginning, on some years, for 5-10 years, it's less expensive, because you spend more less in the energy bill. And so you gain on a certain, so that was important, to make incentive, to make information, and then also to make a new regulation. And we were in Brussels the first city that imposed passive buildings for the new construction and for the big renovation. Really, we did it. It was in 2012, I think. And we were the first city in Europe. That was very important. Yeah. And also what I initiate, and that's very interesting, it's exemplary buildings. Is that when people are building passive or very exemplary building on energetic level, we give like a label, a green label, that exemplary building, so they can show, look, how well I'm an exemplary building, and that's important. And if you want, I can send it to you. I have this book, is a big book. We have two. Wow. It's exemplary buildings, and you have all the buildings that are sustainable construction in Brussels, and they explain really here, teaching by example. And so the name of the program is BATEX. BATEX is exemplary building. Right. So that was the program, and it worked quite well. Yeah.
Wow. So altogether, this was all the plan you initiated in Brussels when you were the Minister for Energy and Environment. Wow, brilliant, really. So what do you think are the greatest barriers to overcome when it comes to sustainable construction, and how would you recommend EU member states, regional and local areas overcome these barriers?
I think there are some different. Sometimes people are not informed. So first, as I said, information. Sometimes also there are wrong ideas about sustainable construction. So yes, the communication is very important. And the initial investment is one also of the reason. Invest more money for sustainable construction than for a regular one can be also an obstacle for the people. It's also an obstacle now for the policymaker on a local or regional level. So it's there that Europe has absolutely to have a kind of program that can help the nation, but more maybe the cities. Yeah. Because we have to show, and Europe must show now, that we can save money on a midterm, on 10 years, because CO2 has also a cost, a big cost. The pollution has a cost. We have the report of the GIEC. We know that. And so if we don't invest on sustainable constructions, we cannot reduce the CO2,
The cost. Yeah.
the cost. So it's maybe more money now, but it's less on 10 years.
Yeah.
Because pollution has a cost.
Exactly.
So we have to invest now.
Yeah. So it's just about convincing everyone to do that.
Yeah. And the policymakers also. So I hope that during the COP we can make a big step in the decisions, in the real decisions.
Yeah, and that's the next question. It's about COP26. How do you see the discussions progressing at this meeting, and how do you think COP26 will affect the EU Green Deal? And what would you like to see from policymakers to build a consensus in this meeting to actually progress?
Yeah. Yes, I went to maybe, or I don't know, maybe 15 COPs before.
Wow.
I began in 2004 in Buenos Aires, where we were not so many, maybe 1,000 people. Now we are 20,000 or sometimes 30. And I've seen the evolution. Of course, for the moment, it's not enough, but I can say that maybe in 15 years, the COP make a real jump. So there is a new consciousness. Yes, the people are more conscious today. And the COP in Glasgow is really one of the most important, because it's, of course, that there we have to make the Paris Agreement really concrete. And I hope, even if it was catastrophic, that all the events during the summer, from Greece to Canada to now to Louisiana to Europe, that the policymakers understand that that it's urgent.
The urgency.
Now that we have, otherwise we are going to more fires, to more floods, to more all this catastrophe. And the evolution also the last year is also the young generation, because the young people were in the streets. They will come back in 2 weeks, I think, in Brussels. They come back. And so all this young generation, all this movement is really very, very important. And then on the European level, I think even if for the moment it's not enough, because they speak about reduce 55%, and you know that we ask 65% reducing CO2. But the European Green Deal is an opportunity also. Is an opportunity, and now Europe must understand that they must absolutely also help the cities, as I said before. Because it's there that we can make efforts, that we can work with the people, with the citizens, and so. So Europe has really to make to be more close from the cities to do that.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much. We look forward to having you at the Sustainable Construction Roundtable at the end of September. And thank you so much for teaching me, answering all the questions I learned.